Well, hello there. I want to talk about three things. The rules have changed. The situation has changed. And the truths are different. Now that's three things. The rules have changed. The situation has changed. And the truths are different. Let's look at Hebrews, the 9th chapter, starting in the 7th verse, where it speaks of the high priest that goes into the Holy of Holies and offers a sacrifice for himself and offers a sacrifice for the people. He does this once a year. Sacrifice for himself, sacrifice for the people, with the blood of the sacrifice. With the blood of the sacrifice. Not his blood, but the blood of the sacrifice. And it is for the washing and the cleansing of the flesh. Because at that time there was no washing and cleansing of the spirit. But now, the rules have changed. Now, the situation has changed. And now, the truths are different. The rules have changed. One visit, one time, one sacrifice with his own blood. The high priest must go in with his own blood to sacrifice for the sins of many, but not his own. For this high priest was not made with hands. This high priest entered into a totally different Holy of Holies. So the rules have changed. It has to be a totally pure and perfect tabernacle. It has to be a totally pure and perfect Holy of Holies. And it has to be a pure sacrifice and a sinless high priest. Rules have changed. Situation has changed. You started looking at verse 11 and going on through 14. You see that the situation has changed. Because Jesus went in. Perfect sacrifice. Sinless representative for the people. Sinless high priest. His own blood. Once. Forever. Situation has changed now. Because now, if you accept what he did, you are cleansed forever, washed clean, all doubt, all fear. Situation has changed. No more sacrificing animals that had nothing to do with it, that had no sense of what was going on. The one that was sacrificed for us had sense of what was going on. He did it because he wanted to do it. He willingly sacrificed himself. Situation changed. Now, under the old rules, raise them, sacrifice them, eat them. But this one, he raised himself. He sacrificed himself. And all we need to do is eat that manna from on high. Eat that manna from on high. Situation has changed. And the truths are now different. The truth was, it only lasted a year because the high priest had to go back another year. Verse 7. Had to go back another year. And you had more than one high priest, because that high priest wasn't going to live forever. But the rules have changed. Our high priest died. So now he has risen and he lives forever. Rules have changed. Looking at it again, the sacrifice of the cattle and the fold meat offerings, drink offerings, could only solve and save and give solace to the flesh. But when the eternal high priest died, when the eternal high priest's blood was sacrificed, everything changed. Because we see, as we read, starting in verse 11, that not only did he save those of the second covenant, the New Testament, but he also forgave and washed clean the transgressions of the first covenant. So now the first covenant is joined with the second covenant spiritually because the rules have changed, the situation has changed, and the truths are different. Situation, rules, truth, all different. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, we used to have a situation, well, they used to have a situation, where they had to continually come back and bring new offerings because the only thing that was cleansed was their flesh, their conscience, their mind, their habits. They still had them. And that's why they continued. But now, the truths are different. Because if we are saved, if we are spiritually born with him again, if we are born again, if we are with him, then he and we can work together on our flesh. Truths are different. The sacrifice got up to help us change our flesh. Those sacrifices could never get up and help change our flesh. But this sacrifice from this high priest, this everlasting high priest, has changed the truths as well as the rules and the situation. We can now work with him until either we go with him or he comes to get us to make perfect. And even Peter said, if these things be in you, these things that God has given you, the promises, and all of the things in the Word of God, all of the tools in the Word of God, all of the enthusiasm and enthusiastic things, the promises, joy, peace, long-suffering, all of those fruit, if they be in us and abound, they make us. See, those sacrifices could not ever make them do anything. But the sacrifice of the high priest and his blood and all of the things that we now receive make us clean. So let's work together with him, because we now have a brand new set of rules, brand new situation. And because of those two changes, the truths are totally different. Totally different. And let us rejoice in that the truths are different. We don't have to continue to sacrifice for the same sin. That sin is gone. And we can wash that sin away. We can wash that sin away because he got up to help us wash it away. Interesting. But it is also true, righteous, and everlasting.